So good evening, everybody. This is, I'm Noreen McClendon. This is another session of Free to Heal, and where we are formerly incarcerated and loved ones, and we come together every week so that we can heal from the wounds and scars that mass incarceration left on us. And so tonight, unless anybody has anything specific that they want to talk about, I wanted to talk about, we hear a lot about this term being broken. And so many people are broken today, but how do we fix that? And I'm sorry, y'all. I apologize, but this is so totally out of the thing, but my lips are so chapped. Sorry. But it was going to irritate me for the whole damn thing. So anyway, um, and this is what I want to say. And especially because the last thing on this particular list is something that we should all be doing this weekend. But so it starts this, I prepared this before. Sometimes you don't realize your own strength until you come face to face with your greatest weakness. So if you are or have been incarcerated or ever put into a situation where you didn't have any control, your flexibility, your ability to move around, lots of things, anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to just be incarceration, but where you didn't have control of a situation or even over your own body or different circumstances like that. You don't realize how strong you are until you're faced with those things. A lot of times we think we know who we are, we think we know what we made of. Sometimes we don't give ourselves credit for knowing and having as much strength as we actually have until you're faced with having to exercise. Or at a minimum, just survive. Sometimes survival is all you can do. That's the hard part, is surviving. So no doubt about it, this life will chew you up and spit you out from time to time. However, just because you go through struggles does not mean you have to give up on life entirely. In fact, pushing through the pain will teach you valuable lessons and show you that life always exists, even in the darkest places. Feeling broken can make you feel like you have nowhere to turn, like you've hit rock bottom and you have no way out. Anybody ever felt like that? Uh-huh. Yeah, because I know I have. And like when they use that term rock bottom, a lot of people think that primarily in terms of, substance abuse and stuff like that. But please believe it is more than just substance abuse. It is a place, there's a darkness there that I never, ever, ever want to see again. I never want to experience that darkness ever again in life. To the point where I looked at insanity and thought it would be better than how I'm living today. I I looked at it and thought, I'm gonna just check out. I'm just going and just literally thought that to myself.
I think we all have.
Well, you know what I feel like, Pike? I feel like if we live long enough, somewhere along the way, felt that feeling. You know,
Yeah, I thought about taking my pain pills,
mhm,
take them all at one time
yeah,
and say, yep,
and just go to sleep.
yep.
Yeah, and we've all been there, but don't allow these feelings to take over your whole life. The pain won't last forever, and on the other side of it, you'll find more bliss than you could have ever imagined. We live in a world of duality, so of course we can't feel whole and complete without knowing the despair and hopelessness of being broken. So I know, and I'll come right to you. So sometimes we can't appreciate the good because we're too busy focusing on the bad, right? We don't ever stop. And the darkness, the sun is going to rise again, even if it's just the darkness that's in your mind, the dark place that you've allowed yourself to go, to feel like it's not worth it anymore, to feel like I just cannot keep going through this pain. I can remember waking up days, it was an emotional pain, but it felt physical after a period of time. Like I could really feel it in my arms, like it was just bad. It was bad and it went on for months. But I can say that once I acknowledged my own part in it, it gave me a sense of power. Because now that I knew how I got in this place, what I did that got me there, I knew how to never do it again. I didn't know that before that. But I had to admit my own bullshit first. And that I have told people was the most painful day of my life. The day I had to look myself in the mirror and say, you've been in pain day and night for 4 or 5 months. And it's your fault because you participated, you allowed certain things when you knew you could do better or should do better. You just kept doing what you was doing. You kept insisting this relationship was the one for you. This gotta work, this the guy, whatever. And I kept insisting. Every time I would allow it to go on again, I knocked upside. And when I had to say, oh, no, that was you. What did you participate in? I have lost both of my parents, 2 siblings, been raped, and none of that compared to that pain. Of having to admit it was you all along. Ooh, even now, still give me this, make me like cringe, because that was me. But guess what this says too? And on the other side of it, you'll find more bliss than you could ever imagine. Go ahead.
You know what I noticed lately? Is like I watch some Hallmark movies and stuff, and I cry a lot up there. I do. I just
Don't tell nobody it's gonna ruin your reputation for being an asshole. And if you tell them you cry at Hallmark movies, you're gonna ruin your whole reputation. And then we gotta, you know what I'm saying? Then we gotta tell the whole story all over again.
no, but sometimes it gets me because I'm thinking, why am I crying? It's a movie. But
Story.
yeah, I just
Story.
my eyes water up and I'm
Well, that's because emotions are real. Feelings are real, right? Feelings are real. Compassion, it means that you have compassion. It means that you have empathy, right? All of those things totally against all of your reputation. But we're here, as a matter of fact, actually have compassion and you have empathy for people. That's something we learned today on November the 25th of 2025. We didn't think it was possible, but we now know that Mr. Pike actually has feelings. And, you know, speaking of that, right, so I was in Folsom a couple weeks ago, and I think I might have said it since then, but, you know, that concept that boys don't cry. So I said to the guys at Folsom, I said, well, then why did Yahweh give y'all tear ducts?
Yeah, but I never cried in prison.
Yeah, well, but I'm just saying, but you got tear ducts though, but you have them, just because you didn't use them, you still got them.
And you didn't watch Hallmark in prison.
Okay, yeah, you didn't watch Hallmark.
No, he didn't have
That's a
tears.
big
Right, that
thing.
is
Have tears going down his face.
Oh, really? Oh, the Hallmark movies. Okay, so at the end,
Lifetime.
oh, Lifetime, okay, yeah, that'll do it. Lifetime will keep you on smooth, you know what I'm saying? And I had to watch how much of that stuff I intake, but I can tell you that once, again, what I want to make sure the point gets driven is this, is that once I was willing to admit to myself what my part was, it gave me a sense of power, because now I knew how not to do that again. Like, part of my challenge was the guy said he didn't want to be in a committed relationship, and I thought I could handle it. Well, from that day to this day, I've never agreed to be in a open relationship ever again from that day to this day. Never. You can miss me, I wouldn't give a damn. Your shit could have a gold tip on it, and the answer is no. Why? Because it makes me crazy. And listen, this is a person, I know y'all see this nice, refined lady, you know what I'm saying? All of that. I know y'all see that here.
We don't.
But oh, you don't see it? That's not what you see, Tony? Okay, because you got vision, you got extra glasses. That's why you don't tell your friends your business. But look, so they know too much about you. But I'm just saying, I know this looks all refined and everything here, but baby, that other girl, ooh.
You got ghetto.
Ooh, baby, she is nothing nice, and you better watch your windows. Wait, what that man say? Get your kids, get your something. No, get your windows, watch your car, watch your tank.
Hide your kids.
Hide your windows, hide the key to your gas tank. There's a whole lot of shit you probably need to do messing with her. But again, I want you to remember this though, the best part of the issue is that I learned how not to put myself in that position again. It gave me my power back. It gave me control of what I did and what I didn't do, what I participated in, and that has kept me at peace for so long. We're talking over 30 years ago, y'all. I've never felt that kind of pain again, ever. And I'm telling you, even after, during that time, losing 2 parents and 2 siblings, right? I still have never felt that kind of pain again. But it was because I had to admit to myself who I was, and I didn't like her. I didn't like her.
You hanging out with them people.
But here's a few things to remember. So we want to get over being broken. Remember not to give up. And that sounds like such a simple thing, right? It sounds so simple. Just don't never give up. Never give up. It sounds like such a cliche. But you can't, there's one thing you can guarantee. You can't guarantee that this is what I used to tell the football players. You can't guarantee you're going to win. But one thing is for sure, if you don't play, you're definitely going to lose. So for as long as we sit on the sideline, it may feel safe over there. They feel like it's not, nothing. I had one guy in Folsom. He said with relationships, he was going to stay in the friend zone because he was safe over there. So I used to call him Scaredy Cat Vince. Vince is an old scaredy cat, nice old cholo, big, burly, but Vince wanted to stay in the friend zone because it was safe over there. I said, wait, y'all. Scaredy Cat Vince got his hand up, y'all. Hold up, everybody be quiet. Because he felt like that was the safest place for him to be, was for him just not to even try. But that's not living, right? That's existing. That is, putting up a wall that you really shouldn't be through. But we all go through struggles in life. It's inevitable. Think of how unsatisfying life would be without challenges, though. We would never grow and learn without going through hard times. We would simply walk around feeling stagnant and bored, right? The same thing every single day, nothing ever, okay. And that brings me to something else I learned in Folsom. There are some people, and I think I knew this, but there are some people, through the course of 8 weeks, in 2 different prisons, New Folsom and Old Folsom, I ran into guys who admitted that they like the crazy in the women that they're involved with.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. And a lot of women that like the crazy too, right? So what it is an adrenaline rush or whatever that is. But I had to get them to wait a minute, hold up, just acknowledge the truth of it. You like that shit. Don't try to act like it's her no. Because one guy, after he got busted out, he said, yeah, because I do sometimes, I know it's gonna push her butt and I do that. Because you're ready to see her act up. And then, so there are people who are addicted to the adrenaline rush, they're addicted to the drama, and they will create situations where there is no drama, they're gonna create some.
My parents used to be like that.
Really?
Oh, yeah, they love to fight.
Okay. And they look for any good excuse to fight, huh?
Yeah, I mean, during the week, they're cool.
Okay.
They go out to drink and stuff.
Ooh-wee.
And man, they are tooth and nail, and daddy was a big son of a bitch. And I think I told you one time he hit her in the bedroom and slid her under the bed because he called him a motherfucker. And then he sat on the bed and he was crying because he figured he killed her,
Uh-huh.
Mama was,
Tiny.
yeah, a tiny person. Mama grabbed the end of the bed and stuck her head out and said, "You're still a motherfucker."
But it's crazy because if you think about it, just think about what that did to you guys as kids watching that. Like the notion that shit was normal. right? We don't think about it, certainly in your parents' generation.
It was normal,
Well, yeah, it was, in your household, it really was, right? And
Yeah.
yours and so many others.
but it scared us,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, as kids.
heck yeah, heck
Yeah.
yeah. The one guy I told you that at Francisco Homes, his parents fought so much that they fought really violently, like hitting each other with cast iron skillets and drawing blood and stuff. And the kids got to the place where the parents, like, they're watching TV and the parents are fighting. They tell them, can y'all just get out the way of the TV? Like, they blacked it out. They tried to block it out like that.
Sensitized.
Yeah, just totally desensitized, totally desensitized.
Yeah, but mama crack him with a pan. You take a damn pan and hit him in the head like you.
And it's amazing that they survived all of that, right?
Yeah,
But again, I know that there are people who actually like the drama. Obstacles keep us on our toes. They encourage us to change and continue to break through barriers and not fall into a trap of comfort and complacency. Nothing great ever happened from a place of comfort. So if you want to be great or you want to do new things or more things, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone in order for you to get to a new place. Okay. Said like this: if you want something different, you got to do different. You got to be different. Bottom line. Just because times seem tough now does not mean they will remain this way for long. Just keep your eyes toward the sun and you'll eventually find the shadows disappear behind you. Another thing to do is remember to open your heart to change. A lot of people don't like change. We are not comfortable with the unknown. If we don't understand it, we fear it. And so we don't want to do things that, also things that we're not good at. Like, I'm not good with this technology stuff a lot of times, right? So if it's something I'm supposed to do, and I know it's something that I don't do often, I always keep putting it on the bottom of the to-do list. Not because that's where it belongs, but because I just don't want to be bothered with it right now. What if I don't know how to do it? What if I can't do it? Like, this is the conversation going on in my head, even when I'm not saying nothing in my head. But I know that's what's going on because I keep finding other stuff to do. Well, I know I can do this. Let me knock that out first. I know I can do this. Let me just get that out the way. No, tackle the thing that you need to get done. It's on the list. Stop it. But I'm just telling y'all the truth. I'll be honest with you. I am who I am. But when it comes to technology, oh my gosh. I start getting the hives and want to break out in sweat. You know, and then this is the really sad part though. The sad part is I wind up being able to get it done once I just try. Just try. So that's a thing, right? But remember to open your heart to change. Don't be afraid to change and learn and grow. A lot of times we complicate things by trying to resist change. We don't want it to change. So we make it hard on ourselves. We make it hard. Oh no, and change is the only thing that's going to be constant. Let's see. Another thing I want to say. No one said change would feel comfortable, because it's not. If you hadn't noticed, the best things happen in life when we reach a crossroads, when life seems so dark and depressing that we can't imagine it getting any better. Usually when you reach the limit and can't imagine going any longer, this desperation actually shows you the right path to take. Because when you're in that state of desperation or panic or whatever, your survival instinct kicks in. And your thought process goes to, how do I survive this? And then a lot of times it tends to make the choice clearer because it is a matter of survival. So if I'm not sure which of these things to do, I really don't want to do either one of them. They're not good choices, but now my back is against the wall and my survival requires me to make a choice right now. I got to make a choice right now. So it makes those decisions a lot clearer for us because we know that this is a matter of survival. And what happens is survival is a principle. Hear me when I tell you this. Survival is a principle. It is a basic need that everybody has. And there are instincts that you were born with about surviving. Okay. So because you have those, that becomes a principle. I gotta survive. And if that means I gotta make a decision, then even though I don't wanna do either one of these things, I gotta do this because this is my best chance to survive. In my book, 5 Steps to Personal Peace, Living Authentically You, I write about the fact that you have to be principle centered. You have to focus your life on principles and not individuals or things. Not individuals or things. You cannot focus your life on whether or not I have 2 beautiful grandchildren that I love with all my heart. I cannot focus my happiness and the state of my mind based on whether they're happy today or not. Why? Because if I focus on that, I'm gonna be up and down all the time. Because kids are little selfish little fuckers, right? All you gotta do is tell them no, they can't have a piece of candy or a donut, right? Or a brookie, right? Tell them a brookie. Tell them they can't have. Oh, some Tony makes, something really delicious that Tony makes. They were murdered anyway. Not gonna lie. Shit starts, right? So look, so like when you tell the kids they can't have what they want, and then so now they're upset, they scream and they whine and they crying or whatever. And if your whole day is based on how they feel, you're gonna be up and down all the time, right? If it's centered around, like I know people that love their homes and stuff. I love mine too, but if something happened in their home, their whole world would be shattered. You cannot tie it to things that you cannot control. So your happiness can't be tied to those things. So when you're trying to heal your brokenness, what's really important is to be open to change, be open to seeing something else other than what you're accustomed to. One of the things, and I'll come right to you, but one of the things that I've seen oftentimes that I've had to tell formerly incarcerated men, because I hear this all the time. Well, in there, fill in the blank. Because in there, this is the case. Well, in there, but you're not in there. You out here now, right? So that whole concept that they're not open to change. They don't want to be incarcerated, but they want everything to function like it functions in incarceration because they have been incarcerated for so long. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna mention is, one of the things that I think about when it comes to racing change is, saying to yourself, I actually enjoy this. So for example, like when you mentioned technology, you do a great job with technology. I've seen you with technology.
Thank you.
But
I'm scared the whole
but
time.
you're scared of it. But if you simply just said, hey, I'm actually really good at it and I enjoy it, something about the thought process of saying, this is what I actually enjoyed, and flipping the script, even, I don't know if it's Seawell Flame, Lion Chase stuff, I don't know what it is, but to me, it always helped me embrace new challenges because different seasons challenge. I always say, hey, I enjoy this part of it, so let's do it.
So what you just said is a principle that I use, and I call it shifting your perspective. Just shift how you look at a thing. Just shift it a little bit. So instead of me saying, I'm no good at technology and I'm afraid of it, right? I'm afraid of it because I'm not good at it. Why not look at it as, oh, this is something new for me to learn, right? That would be a shift in my mentality about it. So high five, high five. I can tell you when I was, when they were selling all them loans, them variable interest rate loans where they took everybody's property. I was a notary signing agent, and I used to go around to people's homes with their loan documents and get them signed. But the issue was I had to drive, and because of the companies that I work for, I spent a lot of time on the 405 freeway. Now, anybody that lives in LA or has been to LA understands the mess that the 405 freeway is. Traffic is the worst. So I would be so frustrated by the time I got to a client's house. And when somebody's doing something as serious as buying a home or buying property, you can't walk in as a professional and you're like this and you're up here and you're frazzled and all this kind of stuff. So the key was, for me, I did a couple of things. One is I changed my perspective. First of all, this is how you're making your money right now. And because you got to make your money this way, you got to make this better for you. So what did I start doing? When the directions sent me to the 405 and it said, that I needed, it would take me an hour to get there, I left 2 hours. That way, no matter what time I got there, and I would just put on the radio, whatever was on the radio at the time, that's what I listened to. But it didn't matter what happened with the traffic because I was no longer concerned about being late. Then I could show up for the client, I could show up as a professional. I wasn't, frazzled and all that, but I had to change my outlook on it. Because the bottom line was I had to make my money like that. At that point, it was that or nothing. And I had a house note. So it's like, either you gonna do this and you gonna change your perspective on it, or you gonna be mad every day. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna be frustrated. But this is how you gotta, so that notion is of change is important. Usually when you reach your limit and can't imagine going on any longer, the desperation shows you the path. Nothing good in life comes easily, but it wouldn't feel nearly as satisfying if it just fell in your lap. I can honestly say, for me, that's been a lot. I've appreciated things that I've earned or worked for more because I've worked for those things, right? As opposed to things that were just given. You know what I'm saying? Anything I've earned is good. Remember that you have a choice. This is really, really important. A lot of times we function in life to a place where we think or we feel like life just happens to us. This is just what happened to me. This is just, but,
Sometimes, but I digress, but I'm gonna let you keep going.
yeah,
I
well,
should have said something a long time ago, but go ahead.
yeah, but,
Yeah, sometimes.
yeah, sometimes
Life is lifing.
life gets to life, and it does, right?
That's a phrase I use, like, hey, life is lifing today.
Right.
Or at this particular moment, but a shift of perspective, not to cut you off. But again, listening to you too, because I really want to chime in on the technology.
Go ahead.
I suck. It's a fact. It's a challenge. I recognize it. Even working in corporate America for 33 years.
Wait, one of the best technology companies in the world, AT&T, mind you. But keep that in mind. A technology company.
Google is the devil. I live and breathe Outlook. I've lived and breathed Outlook for 33 years. Google is the devil. Gmail sucks ass. But I'm now in a space where I've lost my Outlook, even though I know I will be transitioning out of the workforce sooner than later. Again, I lived and breathed Outlook. So when I got to the new company, I positioned my Outlook and I did my narratives to make it work for me. But now Outlook 16 is being grandfathered and I have been pushed into this Google realm that I can't stand. But you know what? Listening to you guys, because I was ready to scream at both of you, but you are absolutely right. I did have to change my perspective. Today, I had to stop, drop and roll. I had to say, okay, I know I want to use these Avery labels. I know it's 5162. How am I going to get from point A to point B and not have a total meltdown? And I was like, okay, girl, you're 59. Think about it for a moment. And I thought about it for a moment and I typed in a couple of things and I found it. I was able to open up a free Avery account because I was sitting there ready to scream because there was nobody in the office, no one of those young ones in the office that could just do it for me. And I had to figure it out myself, but it was a change of my perspective. But I went through it. But I went cussing and fussing and everything else and slapping the door. I don't want no applause because I'm still fighting. You still mad? I'm still fighting it, but as I sit there and listen to you guys,
accomplished, and she's still fighting.
Yeah, but I did it. Yeah,
yes, you did.
Yeah, I did it.
I know, right? And listen,
those little cute labels y'all got. Yeah, I did those.
I love that. High five, Miss Antoinette.
I was excited as I cussed that card.
And I love it. See, but wait, now this is the cool thing, right?
Yes.
You got outside of your comfort zone.
I did.
And now you know how to do something. And guess what? Those cute little labels, you can do them again now.
Yes.
Yes, you can, because you know how to do it. And And look, I did it all by myself.
Yes.
Isn't that the
Yes,
cutest
yes,
thing?
I was talking to the wall.
Okay.
The whole
But
little,
look,
little syllable.
we talk about
going on.
labels and I'm talking about driving and you talking about other things.
But
the
it all
principle
relates,
remains
it's
the
all
same.
relatable.
The principle remains the
Yes,
same.
it does.
Instead of
It does.
spending the energy, this is really important. Instead of spending the energy,
Yes,
staying in my frustration,
yes,
staying in your frustration,
yes,
spend the energy fixing the damn.
right, and that's the
Can we
maturity.
get- That's maturity.
Right, that's the
Right?
maturity.
That's the little
So I can
brat
step
in
back
that,
10
that like
years,
when I want to unleash
20
her,
years,
the
yeah,
little brat
right,
in the bottle.
right,
She
right.
ain't
Capper,
gonna fix nothing. Only thing
Right.
she gonna do is have you feeling like this.
right.
And you and guess what? And when
At
you
this
think I'm
age-
feeling like that, the problem still ain't solved.
And at this age, she might put you on your back
She just might.
without any,
She
mouth to
just
mouth.
might.
But part of it is because you're backed into a corner, like you said earlier too. So when you don't have
The
staff
youngsters outside.
to help you, when you don't, when the technology is being grandfathered, you have no other choice.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you're backed into a corner, and so you must adapt.
Yes,
I only think about is, as I have my daughters, I try to teach them something different, which is if you know you have to go through something, right? How do you have a different energy and spirit while you're doing
Get to
it?
get through it, yes.
So like you gotta clean up your room. You don't have a choice.
right,
So you can go kicking and screaming, or you can just make it a game where you
Make it light of
everybody.
yourself.
Right.
Make it light of yourself.
But we're gonna do this every night. Every night we come home,
right,
you're gonna have to wash your hands.
Right.
So it just is what it is. So ask me, can you go wash your hands?
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you 3 times.
Right.
So I think it's how do we all instill like a different spirit and energy
Yeah.
when we have to navigate those waters that we don't want to.
Yeah.
and stop
Because-
having to.
Yeah.
And learn to want to, to give you a different perspective.
Even if you don't want to understand this, because that's a far reach for me. I never wanted to drive the fucking 405 freeway. Let's be clear, that never ever happened. I
But you
don't care
wanted-
how,
but
I don't
you-
care how early I left.
Okay,
I don't care that
but you
never
want to
happened. But
accomplish
yes,
your goal, and so
Yes.
that's the one.
and I focused on
Yes.
what that was.
Right.
So
Right,
even if I
absolutely.
don't like it, I understood that that was the thing between me and my money. Now, anybody know anything about me, know me and my money is a little
Right.
situation,
Right.
right? We got a little situation, you throw a message
Good.
between me and my money, you know what I'm saying? And then, anyway, that's kind of stuff made me catch a number.
But
I ain't
Google
talking
still-
with cell phone, you see what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
like, it's like, okay, if this is between me and my money, then I gotta, then you gonna have to make this work, though, cause you gotta have the money. See, like, I need the lights on when I go in the house, you
Mhm.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
I want cold water when I want cold water, room temperature when I want it, but I need to be able to have all them kind of things. And that can't happen, like, I need hot water when I wanna take a shower.
Right.
I can't do cold, so that means I gotta pay the gas bill. The people at the gas company, they only want dollars. I went over there and tried to tell them how cute I was, and they told me, and what is your point?
Mm.
We only take US currency. You and all your cute ass going home and sit in the cold and shower with that cold water till you can come up with some money, okay?
They said so.
So remember that you have a choice. At any point in time, you had the power to control your life. At any time, you had the power to control your life. No outside force decides what job you'll take, where you'll live, or what attitude you will have, which is what we just spent some time talking about, is what attitude we gonna have, right?
Mhm.
Because that will change everything, right? Everything lies in your hands. So instead of fearing me, technology, or denying this responsibility, embrace it. You don't have to work at a job you hate, or live somewhere that doesn't make your heart happy, or stay in a relationship just because it feels safe. Read that again. You don't have to work at a job you hate, or live somewhere that doesn't make your heart happy, or stay in a relationship just because it feels safe, or familiar or convenient. Remember, we talked about convenience, right?
Mhm.
If we're gonna stay in this relationship because it's convenient, we know it's gonna be a price for that shit. Okay, and usually your dignity and your self-respect are attached to that convenience fee. The moment you notice yourself falling out of love with life, you need to step back and reevaluate which decisions you've made so far. Remember, feeling broken just means that we need to make better choices for ourselves.
Whoa, wins.
Oh, Mr. Chester?
One case man.
What now?
Remember, feeling broken just means that we need to make better choices for ourselves. So give yourself the opportunity to do so. You deserve to feel happy. But sometimes it takes some elbow grease and a total upheaval in life to get you there. So sometimes we wind up in a situation, it takes us to go through some nonsense, right, in order to get there. I wound up working at the nonprofit that I've been at since 1992 because I was fired from a job. That's how I wound up, that is how I wound up working here at Concerned Citizens, which has turned out to be one of the best career moves that ever happened to me. But it happened from an upheaval of me being terminated from my very cushy law firm job, right? And I had never been fired in my life at that point. So it felt very uncomfortable, right? I knew enough, I was spiritual enough to know that this was for a reason. This was for something good. This wasn't by happenstance. There was a reason that I was fired. And there was something, but I can sit here and tell you now, having had a career versus just a job for all of that time, learning construction management and real estate and property management and all those things, and having the flexibility for my son to have an acting career, which he could not have had I been working at that 9 to 5 downtown at the law firm. I would have never had the flexibility to allow him to go on auditions and all of those things. So for me, it was an upheaval that was the best thing that ever happened to my life. Number 4, remember that pain doesn't last forever. It doesn't. The only time that I've seen pain go on indefinitely is when people fight to hold on to it.
There you go.
Yeah, LIG, boo. LIG. There was a lady, she's deceased now. And I was always afraid that was gonna happen to her because her son was murdered, and she used to say, I'll never forgive, and this, and that. And like, she's like, I'm in pain every second of every day, you know, as a mother who lost a child. Well, I just knew too many other mothers who had lost children that didn't live in that space. So I knew that this was a choice, especially because by this time I had already come through my own brokenness and my own trauma and figured out, oh, if I start fixing me, then that is going to fix this pain once I acknowledge my part in it. So I used to worry about her from the time that I met her, because I also understood that if you have to focus, if somebody hurts me or makes me angry, if I don't constantly think about that, it's just going, if nothing else, I just will forget about it or to move on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets to be less than it does. But if I think about it every day and remind myself every time I wake up, every time I see the color red, you know, whatever it is that reminds me every single day about what happened, then that's what it'll be, right? I hold on to it. But what it is, I continue to feed it. I'm giving it energy. I'm giving it life every day. I'm feeding into it so that it stays alive. And that I know is a true thing. If you stop feeding it, it will die down. Not to say that you'll ever forget it, not to say that that it'll completely go away or that it'll ever make whatever it was okay. Not saying that, but it will get to be less and less. So the pain, it doesn't last forever. If it did, we wouldn't even know what happiness feels like. Life works in the realm of duality. We must feel sadness and despair to know joy. As frustrated as it might seem. Remember also that it's okay to feel uncomfortable. That is the one thing that I think in this day and age, that everybody is running from feeling uncomfortable. Everybody wants everything to be comfortable. They want it to be easy. They want it to go their way. They want everything on their terms. That's not life. The more comfortable we become being uncomfortable and recognizing, the only way I find to become comfortable with being uncomfortable is by recognizing that it's not going to last forever. And to recognize that I have, again, if I shift my perspective on this situation, I can make it better while I'm going through it, right? I can make the experience, like sometimes, okay, so a lot of times we fear what we don't understand or what we don't know, right? So like I hear a lot of people say when they're getting ready, they've been in prison for a long time and they're gonna come out. And they're more afraid of the unknown. They don't know what's on the other side of the wall. They don't know what it's gonna be like. And a lot of times fear will motivate us to it causes a lot of unease with us, right? So I fear it because I don't know what's gonna happen. But most of the time, what we fear never materializes. It just doesn't happen. You know, we fear things. And one of the things I posted, it occurred to me a couple weeks ago, fear is a great motivator, but what we fear more often than not, the motivation is powerful, but it doesn't produce what we want. It usually produces what we fear. So if I'm like, if I spend my time, because what happens is we tend to focus on what we fear versus what we want to see. So this is a simple shift again in your mentality. If I'm afraid, I know people like have been in car accidents and they become afraid to drive, right? That's that temporary. Well, if you just go ahead and drive, then you'll find out that it's okay. Not every day are you going to have an accident. Sometimes you just got to do the thing that you fear so that you can get past that, right? And you will find out that the thing you fear, which is an accident, is not going to happen every day, right? A person who's been mugged, right? Somebody jacking on the street or something, that doesn't happen every day. So now I want to stay in the house, but I need to go here, I need to go there. I can't do that because now I'm afraid to go out. Well, guess what? Then because you fear it and you think about it every time you get ready to walk out the door, now you're attracting that energy to you. And now every time your ass go out, somebody looking like they want to jack you. But
Well,
you
it
don't,
depends on your neighborhood.
you don't even realize, no, but listen, and they're gonna see it that way. They will see your old ass and say, oh, he gonna jack me. And look, you can't jack no damn body, but they will see you that way, because that's what's going on in their mind.
Yeah, but they don't know I'm gonna shoot 'em.
I'm so done with him right now.
Well, again, that's why they see you like that. You see what I'm saying? But they don't understand that they're producing. That's what they don't understand.
Yeah, but you know, life, when I was out there robbing and carrying on and
Mm-hmm,
I'd shoot you in a heartbeat,
mm-hmm.
I felt comfortable.
It was familiar.
Yeah, real familiar.
Mm-hmm,
And I didn't have a problem with it.
mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't think good, bad, whatever.
It was what it was.
Yeah, you know,
And how's that now?
well, I don't have a gun no more.
Thank heaven for small favors, okay? He don't have a gun no more. You know what I'm saying? It's just the little things in life that mean so much.
Oh,
Thank heaven.
You remember when I used to carry a knife on my side all the time?
Uh-huh.
And then I thought, fuck this. You know, and it's in the drawer. I haven't seen it in a year or so.
And nobody's bothered you, have they?
No, because I don't come out of the house that much.
But even still, right? Is your mentality about it changed? And you didn't feel threatened. Like when you got ready to come up here today, you didn't feel threatened.
No.
Because you see what I'm saying? So that's one of the things. But this is the other one. Remember to focus on all the good in your life. Can we begin to focus on what's good, right? Oftentimes when we feel broken, we tend to just fixate on everything wrong in our lives instead of everything going right. Even if you can only feel thankful for getting out of bed this morning, extending gratitude toward life helps more goodness flow your way. If you focus your attention on everything going badly, guess what? You will attract more of the same. Countless studies have linked gratitude with better relationships, improved health, more optimistic attitude about life, and much more. So that's why I was saying that one right there is where we should be this week anyway, right? We can do Thanksgiving, right? Can we be thankful? And I say this should be every day. One of the things I remember Oprah used to say is she started a gratitude journal. And wake up every morning and even if you're not writing it down and journaling it, at least every day, wake up and talk about something that you're grateful for. Try to find something to be grateful for every day. Again, it's your focus, right? We talked about the perspective and how important that is. But if we spend our time focusing on that we have that's good, we're going to bring more good to us. That's just the law of attraction. Not about what Doreen says, not about what B says, what Tony said. No, that's just the law.
Well, I say, I'm thankful that I paid my taxes. So can I get some more money?
That's enough.
Who was gonna give you the more money?
That's enough.
Who was gonna give you the more money? 'Cause
Anybody.
That's enough. That's enough.
Oh, well, you know, I don't know about
That's
that,
enough.
but no.
That's enough.
Hey, but
That's
guess
enough.
what advice I would give you though?
Anybody.
Concentrate, guess what? You wake up every morning and say, somebody gonna give me some money. I want you to do it.
All right.
Somebody gonna give me some money. There's some money coming from somewhere. I promise you, no, I guarantee you, Tony, I bullshit you not.
I was thankful that I could pay both halves at once.
Hey,
So I just asked
How many
somebody.
times have you heard me ask for a bucket? I ain't never got one.
That's because you never believed it would happen.
Okay.
They
So
put
I
on
just
your
have to
cash app.
believe.
You got
He
cash app?
never believed.
Okay, let me get where my phone.
He never believed it would happen. So you gotta believe though, and that's important though. You gotta believe. You
Okay.
gotta believe. You
Okay.
can't say, I'm waiting on, some money's gonna come in and then go, but ain't no money.
Can I put my QR code up on the site?
No, ma'am, you cannot put your QR code on the site.
Or-
Hey, anybody put in the comments, if you wanna give Tony some money, holla at me and I'll make sure I hook you up with her. So you can hurry up and give her some money, okay?
I
So-
appreciate you.
So I wanna come to my folks online and see, what you guys think about the topic tonight and what, how you think it might be useful for you. Anybody, and well, in fact, not just online, but anybody in the peanut gallery here tonight, anybody wanna,
Why are you looking at me?
I just happen to look that way, you happen to be over there. I had nothing to do with you at all.
Good.
I wasn't even thinking about him. I just so everybody knows. Go ahead.
Good, and what she was saying, it makes a difference if before you go to bed at night, sometimes they tell you to name 3 things you're grateful for,
Mhm.
sometimes 7, sometimes 10. And you can do the same thing when you wake up in the
Mhm.
morning, is be grateful, and it does change the atmosphere of your day.
Yeah,
What I tell you, so you gonna.
especially if you start your day in that way, it's gonna set the tone for the rest of your day, right? Got it started. What happened?
Is that what I've been doing wrong?
It may very well be.
Yeah, you gotta.
Look, we come here to this the hospital, we come here to heal and learn some new ways to fix the mess we've been doing, right?
Okay.
So starting off your day, we're gonna start that tomorrow morning, everybody gonna wake up, and if you're not already doing that, let's figure out something you're grateful for. Start your day with that.
ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm
It's a
grateful
lot
to
of
get to the
things.
fisher.
Hey, cause listen, he grateful to get to the prison, cause sometimes he can't make it.
No, I've
And
never
it
missed.
might fall, no, but you might fall. Shoot,
Yeah,
yeah, he might fall, like his leg may give out on him trying to go to the bathroom. He grateful to be able to get to the bathroom, listen, some people, listen, it may sound like a
Everybody
simple
can't make
thing until it's
Get
not,
older.
so don't laugh, cause that way we may have to go one day.
No, I do
I'm
be
not
looking forward
laughing.
to Miss Roberta's good mornings. She always have a nice good morning every morning. She send a good morning, be nice.
She does, and she
I
finds the
like it.
most beautiful
Yes, it's so
things
nice.
every morning.
I say good morning.
Yeah, but they don't look like
So
Roberta.
you just say it.
Huh?
He takes her from.
Oh, yeah, the man on the scooter, the man with the big old belly on the scooter, that's the one, and you even stopped sending us that now, Tony.
Yeah, it used to be.
I just thought y'all got tired of seeing the little
Well,
nigga
we
coming
did.
in high. You
We
ain't
did.
coming in high
It's
no
okay.
more.
It's okay, but yours weren't as nice as Roberta's anyway, so it's
I
okay.
used to love when you come in hot, like, here she comes.
Coming in hot,
Here she comes.
so anybody, all right, well, y'all, what's up with the people online, why y'all so quiet tonight, talk to me.
Oh, I was gonna say something.
Okay,
my bad.
Miss Di.
No, I was like in it for a while, but I didn't really know what depression was. See, I didn't know. Nobody, I never knew nothing about it, but that's where I lived in that space for about a good 4 or 5 years. But I didn't even know, but it it was just to me like my son had went to prison, my daughter was murdered, then my baby went to prison, the quote unquote, the thing I was married to, he was in prison. So I just felt like I was alone. Even though I had friends and family, as they say, but I just still felt so alone. So I did everything in my power just to stay in that place. I tried not to go outside. I just went to work and went home. I didn't do what I would normally like. I didn't even go home like play my music like I like to and like clean my house. I didn't do nothing. I just stayed in that room and I just felt so alone all by myself until one day, like I said, I went in that closet and put on some clothes and then pants fell to the floor and I'm like, wait a minute. But that still didn't bring me out of it. I just stepped out them pants and bounced them that fit and went on about my business. But I lived in there for about a good 4 years, and it took a while to recognize and to see myself in that mirror the way I was living and what I was doing to myself. But that was just, I didn't really have nobody to talk to because who did I know that lost a child? Nobody. Who did I know that had a son in prison? Nobody. So it was just Di had to figure all that stuff out by herself. So yeah, it took a while to get there. It took a lot of I didn't self-medicate, but I did self-reflect a lot as I be driving to work and stuff like that. Cause I drove to my job was a little far, so I had time to sit in the car with myself. And that kind of helped me a little bit. Some days I'd be better than others, but some days I couldn't even go to work. I couldn't do anything because I would be just feeling that low about myself and about just life in general. It took a while, but I'm out of it now, baby. So don't say nothing to me, motherfucker.
If you had groups available to you,
Yes.
you had utilized.
Yes, I wish I'd had somebody to go to talk to, but I didn't have nobody to talk to.
I think that the one thing I was gonna say is I've always been a bit of the opposite where, like, no matter what the situation was, I always said I was gonna do the best and have a good time at it. So like, it sounds kind of fucked up, but even when I was in prison, I was like, hey, I'm here now. I have to make the best of this situation. And I'm not gonna let these people take anything from me, especially my mind. So I'm gonna find good books, find the right people, I'm gonna have the right workouts, I'm gonna stay in my lane, get the right jobs, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to survive this situation. I'm gonna make the best out of it while I'm here, because to your point, this too shall pass. And so if I understand that, then it won't drag and weight me down so much to the point where I can say, all right, this is the only time where I'm gonna have an opportunity to sleep as much as I am in this county jail. It's the only time I'm gonna have to read as much as I ever have in this opportunity. The only time I'm not gonna have bills to the same level of degree that I have. How can I make the best of this moment and grow as much as I can? So when I get out, I'm a better person. I've learned from those mistakes that I made to get me in this situation. And even when I got out, it was like, all right, I'm on the bus now. All right, this is the only time I'm gonna ever be able to make it through traffic without driving, and dealing with it, right? So how can I trick myself to say the positives in the moment, even beyond the waking up and the bookends, but in the moment, like, all right, this is what it is. Let's make the best out of it.
But how can I think like that when it seemed like I woke up?
No,
And
I'm
everything
not
was
saying
taken
for you.
away
I'm just saying, I'm giving.
I have no way to think like that.
Yeah, it was just.
Yeah, I didn't have no way to think like that.
Like you said, it's been a tool that you always use for
Right,
yourself,
right.
your tool, and
Right.
you didn't have that tool.
Yeah,
Right?
it's
Right,
it's
so
like
now-
an anomaly,
Yeah.
that you were able to take that road consistent, right?
So my dad killed my mom, right? So when my dad killed my mom, I saw the murder, I put my dad in jail, I moved on, but I was in foster care homes, I did a lot of other stuff and was in bad situations. But at the time, I said like, all right, I can just mope here,
Right.
or I can do well in school and get out of this situation, or I can find somebody to be with, or I can, have good friends, and, how can I make the best out of whatever situation I'm in? It's a fucked up household that I'm in, these people are abusive, but I got a cool person that I'm in a room with.
Mhm.
So how can I vibe with them when those people are out of the house,
I want to say this. That's interesting because your survival required you to develop a tool that has served you throughout your life.
When I talk about the box, when I
Yeah.
talk about my boxing, right? And people ask me, I don't know. Just I had to find a way to survive the space that I was in. And I found your explanation so much more plausible. And not to say we're parallel, but in often talking about growing up in an environment labeled with, violence and drugs and criminality and so on. How was I able to rise? And I am a boxer, and
Compartmentalize.
I can compartmentalize like hell. But when I was trying, I think as a kid and even as a young adult to explain it to people, everybody looked at me like I was crazy, but they could still see this finished product. But I felt like an anomaly, right? And then listening to Die, I know there was this space of depression, especially after my brother was killed, right? But I was like 14 and I was like, so, what are you going to do with yourself? You have this amazing opportunity. Are you really going to throw this opportunity away? And then when I say everybody else was going left, within a year of my brother's death, my mom and all of her siblings were all incarcerated. But I was like, I have to figure out what it is. And I didn't know anything about depression at 14, but I knew that even saddled with everything that was going on, I had to figure it out. And I think it goes back again to the survival tactic and not taking anything away from Die. But I have heard what she said from so many people, from peers, from other people, talking about their being destitute and being locked in that depression and not knowing it until years later to come as a reflection. And whereas I kept persevering over that, and it's not like I can bottle it, right?
Right.
But I felt so isolated in what gave me that power or that ability to rise so far above so many things when other people that I know who I feel are just as strong as I am spend so much downtime. Now, I'm way more pessimistic than I hear you talking, right? The glass is damn near empty. It ain't no, it ain't no, half full, half empty. I can tell you right now, I'm pessimistic. I'm gonna look at that glass and say it's not enough in there. However, my self-survival skills and compartmentalization have been the key to my ability to not only survive, but also thrive in some of the worst environments.
I have a small trick of the trade that I always do. Because I understand what Diane was saying in terms of feeling that.
Yes.
And my truth is, what I've always said is whenever I'm going through something, I'll allow myself to feel it, but I give myself a clock.
Okay.
So like for example, when I got sentenced, I was like, all right, I got sentenced way longer than I thought I was gonna get. I'm allowed to feel that, but I'll give myself 24 hours and I can sulk and I can complain and I can be sad. But after 24 hours, it doesn't serve me anymore. I have to move on. Like I have to pick up wherever it is and understand the current state of the state. Keep pushing. I think there was one moment I remember. I was her age or somewhere in that ballpark range in high school, where I remember I was sad because of my situation I was going through. I just got kicked out of a different house and I couldn't find a place. I remember I was crying or something like that, and then I had I got somebody gave me like a piece of cake or something like that. I remember like, how can I be happy for this cake? But I'm also crying, but I feel elation because I'm eating this thing that I really like. And then it was like an epiphany, like I can feel a different feeling even when I'm depressed. So if there's a way I can disconnect those two things and say, I'm gonna enjoy this cake despite this other kind of.
Yeah. And you know what, that is a good thing, because it's a great tool, and it's great to understand this, is that just because something bad has happened, something sad, something tragic, doesn't mean that you have to cut off your whole life. That I can remember, feeling like maybe I shouldn't be laughing and happy right now, you know, right? Like after my mom died and stuff like that, you question yourself like, is it okay? Is it acceptable now to be happy and laughing and having a good time or whatever? Knowing that this bad thing has just happened, but the reality is that's actually a better way to get through the process. Because in whatever would take whatever moments of joy you can snatch out of the jaws of defeat, right? You just take whatever victories you can have. But I think it's very good to think about, does this attitude, focus, depression serve me anymore? When you said that, that's so powerful.
Yeah.
Is it really serving me? Because it's one thing, so when I'm a certified grief recovery specialist, and when it's not that you are depressed, you are depressing at this moment in response to what has happened. And in a lot of instances, that is a good thing for you for that particular moment, but how long is the clock, right? Putting it on a time frame, you know what I'm saying? Some people can't do that or whatever, but giving, and maybe it's something as simple as, okay, so today I can have 2 hours of bullshit. I can have 2 hours of grief. I can cry. I can stop. I can do whatever I want to do for 2 hours, but then I got to go at least an hour of doing something positive. Like these are literal tools you can use, right? It's just things you can do so that you can add something else other than just focusing on the bad thing that has happened. Another thing I want to say, when you talk about compartmentalization, Tony, I think about Tyler Perry in that regard all the time, because Tyler Perry's stepfather was very, very abusive to him, and in ways that most people would never want to experience. But he said that what would happen is he would go to this place and create stories. And that was his survival skill. That's how he survived. That man has an empire. He said people wonder how he can write so many shows and have so much, because he had to take his mind to a place to create another universe to survive the physical abuse that he was subjected to. So in survival mode, again, the solutions come, right? It may not seem like they have anything to do with each other, but once we get with our backs against the wall and we got to figure out a way to get through this moment, he would just go into another place and create a whole nother story. When it was over, right? And he was still alive. So to think that that turned into, I mean, his family will live for generations as long as they don't just screw it up really bad off of what he has created from something that was not a good thing.
Turned his pain to profit.
It turned his pain to profit, baby. And so, but guess what it was though? It was the survival mode that caused him to have to go to that place. It was a tool he had to use to get through the moment. I just got to get through this right now. This is, mind you, as somebody's beating him and doing all sorts of stuff, right? He just went to a totally different place. So that ability to do that is something else. And so I want to give Miss Beverly, I see you joined us, sweetie. Is it anything that you got out of the conversation you want to share with us tonight? Miss Bev?
I had to take my phone off mute. Yeah, you know what? I just went through something last week, and I noticed when stuff happened, I kind of panicked, and I'd be like, "What I'm gonna do? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?" So I was going to bed, and my TV was I was on it was on YouTube, and it just seemed like God sent me a message right then that He is my source, you know, and I found out, well, what it said to stop asking God to bless you, and start asking God to help you do what you are blessing. So I started thinking, why am I panicking? Because that's not my source. My source is from God. So now I'm learning, when something happens, don't get depressed, or if I start feeling like I'm depressed or whatever, or my mind going to that negative thinking, I keep saying, my source is from God. So that's
Yes,
helped me. Yeah. So like you said, it's you have to think, you have to change the way you think, basically, you know.
yes.
So yeah.
And isn't
Yep.
it interesting though, because it didn't stop whatever the situation, but it certainly makes getting through it a lot better in the process.
Right.
In real time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of being
Mhm.
worried about it all the time, understand this is my source. This is gonna happen. I gotta get past it. I gotta, I gotta deal with it, whatever that is. But at the same time, I don't have to be fearful and I don't have to have that negative cortisol running through my body and the anxiety and all of those things. And then, because
Right.
ultimately things tend to work out anyway, right? One way or another, they
Right.
work out. So why don't I just make getting through it a lot better by changing my perspective on it? And like you said,
Right.
understand where your source is. You got a power higher
Mhm.
than anything in this earth plane. And that's right in you. And everywhere you go, you take it with you. But
Right.
if you put your focus there and not on what you fear, you will find it working out better in the long run. So that's awesome. I'm glad you had that
Right.
experience. Thank you. Thank you. And
Well, I'm
Ms.
learning from my therapy.
Oh, okay, hey. Awesome sauce, awesome sauce. Look, I'm so glad, and we're always glad to have you, and we're always glad to be here for some therapy for you here. I love it. Miss Viv, anything for you, sweetie?
Just, I'm really just enjoying the night. I mean, a lot of things really hit home with me because I'm the type, when it comes to fears, I meet my fears head on because, hey, I got to be like a cat back up in the wild, I always come out on all fours.
I love you, Miss Vivian, I swear. I love you. You know, y'all people from the South, y'all got a saying for everything. And my mother was one of those kind of people. So it really makes my heart sing because you'll come up with a saying every week. I get at least one good one from you every week, baby. And I just can't tell you how much I absolutely adore it and I love you. Thank you so much. And I want to say, anybody else in the room, y'all want to check out for me? Tell me anything y'all got from the night. Y'all want to say good night to the people?
Good night.
Good night.
There will
Good
be
night.
one thing I'll mention, a little trick that I try to do.
Good night.
Is I try to tell myself what would the version of me 5 years from now wanted to tell myself. So like, so if I fast forward, I look back at this moment. I like sometimes I'll go in Diane's office and I'll say to myself like, okay, she'll mention something like stay the course or whether it's like, or even when I was in prison, I was thinking to myself like, all right, I'm gonna get out one day. What would I wanted to have gotten out of this experience? Like, can I teach people? Can I help people get GEDs? Can I help people write BPA, BP9s? Can I help get people out sooner? Like what would I wanted to have told myself while I'm going through this? Like, because we always say hindsight is 2020.
Right.
But if you can imagine yourself, 5 years from now, help yourself through the experience.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You've been big on tools tonight, baby. You've been big on tools tonight. Pike, anything for you?
No, I enjoyed this.
Awesome. Sweetheart, did you learn anything tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome sauce. Welcome, Missy.
So, they say that you change your thoughts, you change your world, you change your life. But I looked up a quote that says, until you change your thinking, you will always recycle your experiences.
Word. I think we can go into Thanksgiving on that note, baby. You're gonna always recycle your experiences. I have enjoyed the evening. I can't wait to get back to therapy with y'all next week this time. You guys, everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving and we'll see you guys next Tuesday, okay?
Happy
But
Thanksgiving.
everyone have a happy Thanksgiving from the South.
All right, appreciate it.